we are going to be breaking down Detroit Lions middle linebacker Jarrad Davis. So yes, we're on to Jarrad Davis, and actually my last breakdown video where we talked about Tracy Walker, a lot of you guys gave me some suggestions on players that I should do, so that's super awesome. Same thing applies for this video. Let me know in the comments below players that you want me to break down. Last video we did Tracy Walker. I also got some comments about Marvin Jones Jr., so that will be coming at some point. But again, in the comments of this video, just let me know some players that you want me to break down, and I think we're going to do most players. Like, they don't have to be young, they don't have to be rookies, nothing like that. That's what we were doing on the other channel, but we're gonna run out of players. I mean, there's like hundreds of players, not hundreds, but there is tons of players that we can do if we don't go like that. So most Detroit Lions players, I think we can do a lot of breakdowns and they'll be super fun. So let's get right into it. Going back all the way back to Jarrad Davis's early years, where he went to Camden County High School. This was in Georgia. I mean, you see a lot of players coming out of Georgia. We saw Detroit Lions actually have 3 players in their secondary: Darius Slay, Justin Coleman, and Tracy Walker, all went to Brunswick, Georgia. So again, you see a lot of players coming out of Georgia, but it's not super surprising. The SEC puts out a lot of talented players, and these guys that are from these southern states, they go to SEC schools. So not super surprised there. Jarrad Davis, like we know, went to Florida, so he did go to an SEC school. But actually, one thing that you may have not known is that he committed to go to Auburn University. He changed that to go to Florida. So I guess that was a good decision because now he's with the Detroit Lions. I don't know if it would have been anything differently, but either way, he decided to go to Florida, and Florida's super nice, obviously. So his college career, not gonna lie, it wasn't awesome because he had to deal with so many injuries. He played well, he just had to deal with so many injuries. It was kind of hard to get, his footing, get going, really prove what he was supposed to be coming out of high school. So as a freshman, he only played in 7 games where he had 24 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 0 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. As a freshman, you usually don't come in and have a lot to do. You're kind of just a little rotational guy. He was still a high prospect, but you're still a rotational guy. Then as a sophomore, he only played in 8 games where he had 23 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and that was it. So you can see nothing crazy here in his first 2 seasons. Injuries really held him back throughout his college career. But then as a junior in 2015, he stepped it up. He showed everybody, hey, this is what I can do. And I think this had a lot of reasons to do why the Detroit Lions took him in the first round, because he played in 14 games where he showed 90 total tackles, 11 tackles for loss. That's ridiculous. It's over... I mean, that's a high percentage, okay? I don't know math like that. I think it's like 12% or something of his tackles would be a tackle for loss. It's ridiculous. 3.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble. So that's really good as a junior. So after the 2 rough years to start his college career, he came out and he balled in 2015. Then in 2016, he was a senior. He played in 9 games where he had 60 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Not a bad season, again, but when you have 5 less games than you did in the previous year, it can make it hard to reach those same numbers. So with that being said, he had some injuries. He was invited to the Senior Bowl, and he couldn't go because of an injury. That's just how it was for Jarrad Davis. Injuries were just a problem for Jarrad Davis. So then he has his Florida Pro Day, and this is where a lot of his combine numbers come from because of his injuries. So actually, he ran a 40-yard dash at his pro day that would have been the 2nd fastest 40-yard dash out of any linebacker. But as we know, if it's not at the official combine, it's not an official, it's unofficial. So that's just how that works out. But either way, it just proves that he was super athletic. So his pre-draft measurables were a 6'1", 238-pound linebacker that ran a 40-yard dash in a 4.62 time, a vertical of 38 inches. That's ridiculous. I mean, 38 inches, that's over 3 feet for a middle linebacker. It's really good for Jarrad Davis. Then he had 23 bench press reps. So 23. This guy was an athletic freak of nature. We'll just say it that simply. So now coming into the Detroit Lions, in 2017, as we know, Jim Caldwell was the head coach of the Detroit Lions, but they decided to bring in Jarrad Davis, which was actually a really good move, where he played in 14 games. So there you go, Jarrad Davis. You got a lot more games under your belt. Your first time playing 14 games since 2015. So good for him. 1 interception, 3 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks, 96 total tackles, and 4 tackles for loss. You can see as soon as he came in with the Detroit Lions, he was playing well. He's good as a rookie. He's a really good player as a rookie. And I don't really understand where the whole notion of a bust really comes into play. I don't see it with Jarrad Davis. I think there's things that he had to work on, and passing skills were a lot of those. He wasn't a great pass coverage guy. He was known to be a tackler. That's what Jarrad Davis was. But he has definitely improved upon that, and he's getting better every single season we see him, and I expect a lot of improvement coming into 2019. But Jarrad Davis had to take over a big linebacker role. After 2016, we lost a guy named Tahir Whitehead, who actually had over 130 tackles for the Detroit Lions. So this is a big hole to fill. Jarrad Davis did really nice with that with 96 total tackles. Now, this is something kind of interesting. Doesn't have anything to do with Jarrad Davis, but I found that in 2016, the second leading tackler for the Detroit Lions 2016 was actually Tavon Wilson. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would never have guessed that. I thought that was just kind of a crazy thing I thought I'd throw in. Then in 2018, Jarrad Davis' sophomore season with the Detroit Lions. He played in 16 games, so really good for him. He played the entire season. Now again, this is under Matt Patricia, so it's a little bit different here for Jarrad Davis, but he had a big role under Matt Patricia, and you could tell they got along really well. He had 5 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, 6 sacks, 100 tackles. He hit that 100 mark. Good job, Jarrad Davis. 10 forced fumbles, 10 quarterback hits. 10 tackles for loss, 10 quarterback hits. I think I said 10 forced fumbles. That'd be ridiculous. But you could just see by the numbers. Like, this was the guy that was getting into the backfield. We saw it back in college when he was healthy. He was getting to the backfield, and that's something that Matt Patricia definitely utilized more than Jim Caldwell did, was bringing him on a blitz, getting him into the backfield. Now, there were a few times when Jarrad Davis would get back there because the dude was super athletic, and he would just whiff, and it was like, oh, Jarrad, what? Like, the quarterback just ducked, and it was like, oh, man, you should have had that sack. But either way, he's still a young player, he's still developing. And now we've added multiple pieces around him, not a lot of more young guys, so he's going to maybe share a little bit of a veteran role, even though he's going into his 3rd year as a Detroit Lions player. But those guys should also help him out. We have a lot of good players around. He has guys to learn from on the edge, but he's solidly that middle linebacker position. And as we know, the Detroit Lions defensively are going to be moving around all the time. So he's definitely that middle linebacker. And some people have talked about maybe he moves to outside linebacker. That could happen. He's definitely going to move around, okay? This is a player that's versatile. We see that at every player that we draft. And Jarrad Davis, like Bob Quinn said, was great for the Detroit Lions. A great draft pick. Very versatile linebacker. So what we know about Jarrad Davis is that in my opinion, I think he's a really good linebacker. I think he's a great linebacker, and I think he's going to be great. Has a few things to work on, but he gets better, okay? This guy seems to improve, and every single year, even when you can see in college, when he was healthy, he seemed to be getting better. And then with the Detroit Lions from 2017 to 2018, under Matt Patricia, he definitely took a jump statistically. So that is the breakdown of Jarrad Davis. If you guys have anybody else you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at DoseOfDion 2.0. It's super cool. I just started Twitter, and I really like it, so make sure you go follow me over there. Also, I have 2 shirts now on my shop. I have my original one, that's, the DoseOfDion 2.0 thing. And now I have the Bob Quinn We Trust, which looks really cool. But I'm going to have a 3rd shirt coming out that someone actually had a comment on in one of my videos, the SOL, the Same Old Lions video. So I'm going to use that as a shirt design. I'll definitely give him credit because it's a cool name. Make the Lions great again, or something along those lines. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you, Fred, for watching, and I'm out.